This is breaking news on the Dominic Pelicot case. This case is a mirror into the decayed society in which we live in, unfortunately, these days. Most women all over the world need to be aware of this, so share this. This morning, the jury was out on the Dominic Pelicot case. He has been sentenced to 20 years in prison. And most of the young girls you can see here are protesting. A lot of French women are protesting in front of the judiciary. They are not happy with the sentences. And this is why. To many French women, this court case was seen as a circus when the evidence was overwhelming and obvious that a man had committed a heinous crime on his wife, who had no clue for decades. And health wise and psychologically, she has deteriorated over time. These are wounds inflicted that can never be taken back. The other men who were a part of this process, along with Pelico, in abusing the wife, well, most of them were given between 3 to 13 years of imprisonment, and some of them are walking free because they've already served some prison time. So there is outrage. There is a huge outrage and protest in front of the judiciary this morning in the courts of Avignon, Vaucluse in France. You can see the people standing there. You can see the placards. It's mostly women, and they are furious and they are angry and they feel that the sentences are too light. Some of the women are saying that these men are going to be let back into the society again very soon, some already, and are going to continue to devour. The word used in particular was to continue to devour women. Women will be at their mercy again. A lot of people are also angry that Dominic Pelicot himself did not receive the maximum sentence of, I'm not sure, but I think it's 30 years imprisonment, the maximum sentence for violence on women in France. These are some of the placards you can see the women holding, and I'm going to interpret the placards. So this one says 96% of, this says 96%. I can't say this on the internet, but so I'm going to just say it in French. 96% of violators who are free equals 96% of women who are in prison. And I was surprised to see that Dominic Pelicot's lawyer was a woman. That's her on screen making her speech. So this is another placard. You can see written there is, violators, your private parts should be inside of a mixer. A mixer is a blender. So this other placard reads, victims of the Mazan horror. I can't see everything clearly, but I see sleep somewhere there. Mazan is the place where it took place. It's within the Vaucluse area of Provence area of France. So this lady was singled out screaming in the crowd. She said something like the fact that she had been talking about this for some time and nobody listened to her. No one listened to her. So this is all currently going on in the judiciary courts of Avignon, where the sentence was given this morning, and most of the people here are protesting and also waiting to see the entire process and the judgment and everything. There are even some families of the condemned there waiting to see them. For those who are going to prison, they may be seeing their family members for the last time. And for those who don't really understand this story, this is the story of Dominic Pelicot, who invited men into his home to violate his wife for decades and decades over the years, and she didn't know she was drugged. And it's a horrific story. The daughter was involved towards the end. He also drugged the daughter. I can't remember what exactly went on with the daughter, but the daughter was also in court, and she was not content with the penalties given to the offenders. So some of the placards are also saying, "Thank you, Giselle," which is the name of the victim in question. "Thank you, Giselle, for speaking out and for putting criminals behind bars who could have been doing things to other women. She was brave enough to do this and to face this debacle head on." They are supporting her and giving her courage. They just want to show her that they stand with her. So generally, you can see that the women of France are furious and offended, highly offended, not just by the course of events, but by the penalties given. Most people think that they are too menial, not enough, not strong enough for the level of crime inflicted on this woman. You can go on Google and Google the names and find out more about this case if you want to know more of the details. It's one of the most horrific cases that has stunned France in recent years. So personally, for me, this case hits very close to home for me because this is where I live in France. This is Vaucluse, this is Provence, this is Avignon, where I've lived in for so many years. And to think that there are people like this. Okay, so I want you to know that the other men who partook of this crime, the French women are calling them Monsieur Tout le Monde. Monsieur Tout le Monde. Do you know why they're being called Monsieur Tout le Monde? Monsieur Tout le Monde means Mr. Everybody. Okay? And they're right, because this notion is scary. It's horrific to know that these are men from various professions. One is a nurse, one is in the military, one is a hotel manager, one is a teacher, one is 27 years, one is 74 years old. One of the men is even a journalist. One is a prison guard. So it's abominable, and this is why it's being called Mr. Everyman in France, because these are men from all walks of life. It could be anybody, it could be your neighbor. It's horrific to think of. So, women, this is a message. This is a cautionary tale. All women beware. All women wake up. All women look around. And women, don't be quiet when you see people doing the wrong things. And try to be courageous to speak out. As courageous as Giselle. Gisèle Pelicot is now an icon in the fight against sexual violence. And as she came out of the court, you can see she's the one who has been walking towards the car with the security here. And as she walked to her car, the crowd were chanting, "Thank you, Giselle. Thank you, Giselle. Merci, Giselle. Merci, Giselle." The crowd were shouting, thanking her for her bravery. And you can watch and listen to the rest of what was going on here today. As she left, the women began singing songs of solidarity in support of Gisèle Pelicot.